So today, we're going to talk about, first is 1 Peter 5:8, and the title of my devotional is Get Serious, Get Ready, and Get God. So today we're going to go straight off 1 Peter 5:8. So if anybody wants to look that up, that's great. If you don't, and this time I chose the King James Version. We had a little discussion about that in our off-campus, off-site. But for this particular, I did feel like it was a little bit better translation for what the point I wanted to get across. So 1 Peter 5:8, it says, be sober. Sober of mind means serious. Be vigilant, which means to be determined, to be awake. Because your adversary, the devil, boy, isn't he just right there behind us all the time. He is as a roaring lion, he walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. I tell you, I've had a week. I've had it last night. I'm telling you, he's around. And you'll know this week, if you've had any kind of problems, you know he's roaring around. We can't be off our guard. We need to be ready for every moment to resist the devil, because I'm telling you, he was coming this week. Be cautious. Be cautious when? All the time, not just once in a while. How long do we have to be cautious and look around for that old devil? As long as we're breathing, because he's there. But you know what? God has a plan for our life, but you know the devil does too. But we have to make sure we're on God's side. And we have to make sure that we are individually listening to God. We are to receive correction from the Holy Spirit. Uh-oh. Do we like to receive correction? Kids don't. I told you not to do that. Well, God's going to correct us, but individually. Receiving chastisement from God. It doesn't take 6 months for him to talk you into changing. You need to change right away. One thing in studying this, I noticed from examples when I was a kid, we need to have a reverential fear of God. Example? When I was a young lady in church, I had a friend who we used to sit in the pews, and she would get a songbook, and she would flip through the songbook, and she'd make fun of those songs. Is that reverential fear of God? No. She knew better. And here I was, just a timid little girl, and my dad would turn around and say, stop that. But her folks didn't. So we need to have a reverential fear of God. We don't need to be afraid of God in a wrong way. We need to realize that Jesus is coming back, and we will stand before God and give an account of our lives, the wrongs and rights we've done, people we've come in contact with, people you may not even know. You will be held accountable. Somebody can't go in proxy for you. They can't go in place of you. It's you alone, and that's a scary place. Next, I want to turn over to Joel 2:1. If everybody wants to turn over that. The call to alarm. You know, when your alarm clock wakes up, what do? Oh, I got to jump up and go to bed. Oh, I got to jump up and go to my work. Oh, I got to jump up. I hate that alarm. I was somebody who ever designed it would have never designed it. But they did. It says, blow ye the trumpet of Zion and sound an alarm. When you hear the fire alarm ring, what do? You run. When you hear the tornado drill, you run. When it comes on. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. Woo, when we hear that, we better run. You need to say, Jesus is coming back, and I need to get serious, and I need to get ready. He's coming back for a church without spot or blemish or wrinkle. Do we got wrinkles? Yeah, we've got physical wrinkles. But do we got wrinkles way down inside? We got things going on? Turn over to Joel 2:12 through 13. Therefore also now saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with all fasting. Ooh, fasting. I don't like that. Ooh, we don't hear much about that anymore, fasting. With weeping. Oh, we've cried, Lord, hear our prayer. And with mourning. And rend your heart and not your garments, and turn unto the Lord your God, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger. Thank goodness he's not like me. I'm quick, he's slow, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil. The people you hang out with. Example, some of the people I work with. When I first arrived on the scene at one of my departments, and this is even back a long time ago, people didn't talk so good. They wanted me to join in. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about different people and their different parts. I didn't like that. So they saw I was different. So now I see a trend. They're saying, maybe that's not such a right way that person's talking. I want to talk to you more. Some people are hindered in their walk with God by the people they hang out with. Uh-oh. What kind of experiences are you having with the people you hang out with? Both of my boys, I know, hopefully, when I don't see them, they're hanging out with each other or with good fellowship Christians. That's our prayer. We want that. They know better. They know right from wrong. They come up and say, well, you know, I went over there. Well, you're on your own. You know what to do. There are some people, though, that we can't get away from. Well, you know, when you're married, you can't get away from your husband, no matter how perfect they are. They're always there. Can't get away from your fiance. They're there. You can't get away sometimes from your parents. Sometimes they're in your lives. But the people that you can get away from, you need to get away from those people that are causing you strife. At work, you can't get away from some of those people. And you know what? Sometimes they're draining. They drain the life right out of us. Because we're there with them 8 to 10 hours a day. That's a third of your day you're spent with those people. Can you do something about who you choose to be with? Am I making you be here today? No. You're here of your own free will. So you're making a choice. Who you choose to fellowship with. Who you entertain yourself with. I had a friend in school and in church, always wanting to get into trouble. And I never could figure out, because my parents would get after me, but she never seemed to get in trouble. Now, why is that? We wonder why. So we need to get serious about getting some different friends. But you know, my friend was in the church. What do you do when the friend's in the church? The devil might say, well, you might be lonely. You say, okay, I'll be lonely. But at least I won't be around the people who are draining the life out of me. Because some people, I call them, well, they suck the life out of you. You're around them and you just feel like, oh, they just sucked it out of me. Anything you give up to better your relationship with God or to get closer to Him or obey Him, He'll give you that time many times over. Walk away from people who are poisoning your life. God will bring people and relationships into your life because of the seeds you've sown. Whoa, what's your past? It's not going to happen overnight. So as long as the earth remains, there will be seed, and there will be time and time and time and time. I'm so impatient. There's always time and more time. And if we hold on to the end, there will be harvest. The Bible talks about periods of times where we as Christians will have to be long-suffering. You know, sometimes we don't say that word just exactly right. It should be long-suffering. Because I feel like that sometimes. I'm long-suffering. It's not long-suffering. It's long-suffering. It's not short. God will not allow you to go through more than you can bear. Sometimes we think it's more than we can bear when we're in it. So we need to be sober and vigilant, determined in the quest for our harvest. Like people were talking about, we had a little earthquake, I guess, last night. Uh-oh. Wonder if that had been the time. What were you doing? What were you thinking about? What did you have on the TV? What were you reading? Were you in bed? What had you been doing? Examine your life. Be awake and watchful so that we can get serious about our relationship with God. You know, when you first start dating, you get kind of serious. Everybody says, are you getting serious? What does that mean, getting serious? That means you're in tune, you're intent. What's your intent? We need to be ready and steadfast for what comes up against us. Attacks, and we have many. And I can tell you of 2 or 3 that I had this week that wasn't too pleasant. But in the end, we get God. Look at our reward. We get to spend eternity with the Almighty. Not in our big mansions, not what we have here, but we get to spend eternity praising Him who created us and allowed us to be. So I ask you this week to go and think about those things. To get God. That's the end. It's kind of like a math equation. Get serious plus get ready equals get God. So I thought that was kind of was on my heart. We got to be vigilant, especially after we had a little experience with one of our local restaurants last night. And things come at us and we don't even know it. We're like, "Ooh, where'd that come from?" Well, the devil's right on your footsteps. He's wanting you to he's not wanting you to be the way you need to be. So I wanted to bring those verses to you because we have to get ready. We need to be serious. We need to fear God. We have a reverential fear. We don't need to be afraid of Him. But people say, well, my God wouldn't do that. He wouldn't judge me. Yeah, He is. He said He's going to judge you. You alone. Nobody else. So let's be vigilant, sober this week, and get serious. And think about that earthquake and what we were doing at the time. If that had been the time for us to go, or the time that our heart just decided to go on and the Lord called us on back. What were we doing? Were we ready? Were we standing where we need to be standing?